My wife was planning to kill me. During a blackout, she just didn't know I was already home. Ellie and I have been together for 8 years, married for 6. We met at a New Year's Eve party back when people still did that kind of thing, before the world shut down and everything got weird. Our marriage wasn't perfect. The spark had dimmed, but I figured that was just normal in long-term relationships. Lately, our neighborhood's been dealing with rolling blackouts thanks to some grid maintenance issue. Usually it's no big deal. Power's out for a couple hours, then it comes back on. Life goes on. Last month, Ellie started talking about life insurance. Said we should bump up my policy just in case. It made sense at the time. We had some home repairs piling up, money was tight, and she framed it like she was just being responsible. So I signed the papers. Policy went from $150K to $500K. I didn't think twice about it. Eduardo moved in next door about a year ago. Divorced guy, harmless enough, started coming around asking to borrow tools, wanted help with his lawnmower, little things like that. Thinking back, most of those fixes probably didn't need my help, but whatever. I thought he was just lonely. Ellie started inviting him over for dinner sometimes, said she felt bad for him. She'd get all dressed up for those nights, way more effort than she ever made when it was just the two of us. Big red flag, but I ignored it. Then came last Tuesday. There was a scheduled blackout at 6 p.m. My buddy canceled our plans, so I headed home early without telling Ellie. My phone was almost dead anyway. I pulled up around 5:30, just as the power cut. Perfect timing, right? Our garage opener was busted, so I parked on the street and used the side door. The house was already dark, but I heard voices in the kitchen. Ellie was laughing. Not her normal laugh, but that high-pitched fake one she uses when she's trying to impress someone. Then I heard Eduardo's voice. I figured they were just chatting. I'm not the jealous type. But something felt off. Instead of announcing myself, I just stood in the hallway. They couldn't see me in the dark. That's when I heard it. Ellie was talking about the plan, how it needed to look like an accident. Eduardo asked if she was sure about the timing. Then she said, once the insurance pays out for his accident next month, you and I can finally be together. Then they clinked wine glasses. They were toasting to my death. Everything in me froze. It was like my brain couldn't process it. I wasn't hearing this, right? But I was. My wife, the woman I shared my life with, was plotting to kill me for insurance money with the neighbor. Somehow I didn't lose it. I didn't burst in screaming or demand answers. I just quietly backed out, got in my car, sat there for 20 minutes trying to breathe. Then I did something I still can't fully explain. I went to a convenience store, bought some flashlights, bottled water, snacks, played it off like I was just being blackout ready. I came back home around 7:00, made a bunch of noise coming in, and called out Ellie's name like everything was normal. She answered from the kitchen. Her voice was too high, too cheerful. I walked in holding flashlights and saw them, 2 wine glasses still on the table. Eduardo looked like he'd seen a ghost. Ellie was wearing perfume she hadn't touched in months, and that tight blue top she only wore when she wanted attention. I said my plans got canceled, handed them both flashlights, acted like I didn't suspect a thing. Eduardo mumbled something about just checking if we had power, too. I offered him a beer. He declined and made a quick exit. The next 2 hours were the most surreal of my life. Sitting in the candlelight, chatting with my wife, knowing she had just been plotting my death. She kept checking her phone, texting someone. Gee, I wonder who. I didn't sleep that night. I've been recording everything since. Screenshots, voice memos, even setting up a hidden camera. And I've spoken to a lawyer. Quietly, carefully. The insurance company's also been informed. Turns out they take fraud and attempted murder pretty seriously. Now I wait. She still has no idea I know, still sends sweet texts, still kisses me goodbye like she's not planning to collect $500,000 off my accident. But here's the thing, Ellie. If you're going to plot someone's murder, make sure he's not standing in the hallway when you rehearse it. TLDR. My wife didn't know I came home early during a blackout. In the dark, I overheard her and our neighbor plotting to kill me for insurance money. I've been quietly gathering evidence ever since. She still thinks I'm clueless. If you read my last post, you know the basics. I came home early during a blackout and overheard my wife Ellie and our neighbor Eduardo toasting to my upcoming accidental death. They're planning to cash out my life insurance and run off into the sunset together. She doesn't know I heard everything. Over the past few days, I've been playing dumb, but watching like a hawk. Ellie's been acting strange, real strange. Suddenly working late all the time. Her phone now has a passcode. She's asking weird questions about my schedule, pushing me to go on this fishing trip with my brothers next month. A trip she used to hate. Now she can't wait for me to go. I started snooping. Her browser history? Rookie mistake. She forgot to clear it. I found searches like how to make death look like an accident, undetectable poisons, average life insurance, payout time. It was like watching a toddler try to hide candy in plain sight. She's also been using some encrypted chat app. I couldn't see the messages, but I could see the notifications, constant messages from one contact. I'd bet my last dollar it's Eduardo. Last weekend, I accidentally knocked over her purse and a small, unlabeled bottle fell out. It wasn't perfume. It wasn't medicine. She snatched it up like it was a live grenade and snapped that it was just vitamins. Yeah, sure. If vitamins come in ominous glass bottles with no label. But the final straw? Yesterday, she thought. I was in the shower. I wasn't. I had just turned on the water and was grabbing something from the bedroom. That's when I heard her say, "It has to look natural. We need to stick to the timeline. The fishing trip is perfect. Accidents happen all the time out there." She didn't even try to hide it. My wife of 6 years, is planning to use my favorite fishing trip as the setting for my murder. So yeah, things got real. Here's what I've done. Since I started gathering evidence, screenshots of her search history, photos of the bottle, recorded conversations. Thank you. Amazon spy cams, and I backed it all up in cloud storage she can't touch. I moved most of our savings into a separate account. I told the bank I suspected fraud, not technically a lie. Then I saw a lawyer. The guy looked like he'd been through 3 divorces and 2 wars, which was exactly what I needed. His advice? Protect yourself financially. Document everything. Don't confront her yet. Let them hang themselves. So I stayed the course. To explain the money moves, I told Ellie I had a gambling problem. Yeah, I know how that sounds, but hear me out. I sat her down and confessed, said I'd lost a couple grand, that I needed help, and I was joining a support group. Even made a fake betting history in Photoshop. Thanks, YouTube tutorials. She completely bought it. Gave me that supportive fake, "We'll get through this" speech while she's literally planning my funeral. The best part? It gave me a legit reason to separate our accounts and move money. She was thrilled. Probably thought it'd make things cleaner after I was gone. But I wasn't stopping there. See, a marriage is like an engine. It looks solid on the outside, but it's really just a bunch of moving parts. And I've been messing with them. Eduardo? Super jealous. At a neighborhood BBQ, I noticed how stiff he got when Ellie laughed at another guy's joke. So I started planting seeds. "Oh, the guy from your office texted you, by the way. Wanted to know when you're free." That waiter was definitely flirting with you. "You wore that dress to meet which friend?" Then I, accidentally, texted Eduardo something meant for Ellie. "You looked amazing in that outfit last night. A meeting that never happened." I deleted it right after with a casual, "Oops, wrong person." He replied with a dry NP, but I could practically hear the gears grinding in his skull. For Ellie, I started planting doubts too. "Hey, did you hear Eduardo's business? Is in trouble? Someone said he's behind on his HOA fees." Spoiler, he's not. I made it up. Breadcrumbs of doubt, small cracks in their fantasy. And the best part? watching them squirm. Ellie's been restless, snappy. Her affection feels forced. Eduardo's suddenly a lot less friendly, looking over his shoulder, showing up less. They're starting to distrust each other. And I'm just here, playing dumb, smiling, kissing her goodnight. So what's next? I'm not just going to confront her, not yet. I want consequences, real ones. I want them to feel trapped, to watch it all fall apart while I stay 10 steps ahead. You want to plot against me in the dark? Fine, but I'm the one who flipped the lights back on. TLDR. My wife and our neighbor are plotting to kill me for insurance money. I overheard everything. Now I'm pretending to be clueless while gathering evidence, sabotaging their relationship, and quietly preparing to burn their whole plan to the ground. Chess, not checkers. A lot of you have been asking if I'm still alive. Spoiler, I am. And things have escalated. Buckle up, this is going to be a long one. The last 2 weeks, I've never been someone who enjoys watching people squirm. But when the people in question are actively planning your murder? Yeah, rules change. The spy cameras I set up have been gold. They've caught everything, from subtle shifts in tone to full-blown arguments. The murder plot is still focused on my upcoming fishing trip, but now there's tension. Real tension. One clip caught Ellie confronting Eduardo about a woman who's been commenting on his posts. He got defensive fast. Another had them arguing over the money. Eduardo wants a bigger cut than Ellie promised. Trouble in paradise. I've got all of it. The footage, the screenshots, and even a video of me opening the mystery bottle from Ellie's purse while wearing gloves. It's some kind of powder. I sent a sample to a mail-in lab. Results are due next week. Meanwhile, I've been setting traps, what my lawyer calls a pattern of close calls. I've casually mentioned to Ellie that I nearly slipped on the stairs, came home one day with a fake bandage and a story about swerving to avoid a cat. Nothing major, just enough to make it seem like I'm accident-prone. The look on her face? A weird mix of concern and disappointment, like she's afraid I'll die before she can cash in. Operation Financial Chaos. Last week, I discovered unauthorized charges on our credit card and made a huge deal out of it while Ellie was home. Called the bank, froze the cards, had them reissued. She panicked, kept texting Eduardo. I could see the stress in her body language. 3 days without access to our accounts, and she was spiraling. Then I casually mentioned to our neighbor across the street, who just happens to be besties with Eduardo's ex-wife, that I was thinking about real estate investing and that Eduardo seemed like a good guy to ask. Threw in a line about how he's been around a lot lately, especially when I'm not home. The look she gave me. That gossip spread like wildfire. I'm not just messing with them for fun. I'm building my safety net while pushing them to get sloppy. And it's working. I even took a day off work without telling Ellie. Parked down the street and watched the house. Sure enough, Eduardo showed up an hour after I would have left, stayed for 3 hours. I recorded the whole thing from my car and confirmed it with the hidden cams inside. They talked about the timeline again. Eduardo seemed nervous. Ellie reassured him. It'll all be over after next month. Let's shake the tree time to test their commitment. I told Ellie I was canceling the fishing trip because my brother broke his ankle. He didn't. Her face went pale. She actually tried to convince me to go alone. The same woman who's hated this trip for years suddenly thinks I deserve some me time? Right. Then she started making careless mistakes. Left her phone unlocked. I saw a message to Eduardo. We need a new plan. Getting worried about the money. Found receipts for an untraceable phone and a keylogger in her email. Looks like she's trying to spy on me now. Cute. So I escalated. Disappeared for 48 hours. No warning, no calls, no texts. I paid cash at a motel 2 towns over and left my phone off. For all they knew, I was dead in a ditch. The cameras captured everything. Ellie pacing, calling Eduardo, him rushing over. They checked the house, my social media, even called hospitals. Not out of concern, they were terrified. Eduardo kept saying, "This isn't the plan, we're not ready." Ellie was panicking about the life insurance. Apparently, you need a body to collect. I walked back in Sunday evening like nothing happened. Told Ellie I'd gone camping alone to clear my head. Her face was priceless. Relief, confusion, frustration. That night, I heard her whispering in the bathroom. "He's getting suspicious. We need to move faster. I can't wait much longer." They're cracking. The power play begins. So where am I now? I've canceled the life insurance policy. It officially terminated yesterday. Ellie has no idea. I've secured nearly all our money. I've created tension between them, and they're both paranoid and sloppy. I've convinced Ellie I'm completely clueless. But I'm not done. Tomorrow begins phase 2. I texted Eduardo, asked if he wanted to grab a beer, told him we should get to know each other better since he's around so much. He agreed, couldn't say no without raising suspicion. I'm planning to get him drunk, let him talk, maybe plant a few seeds about Ellie's other friends. And yes, I am going on the fishing trip, but not how they expect. I've already talked to my brother. We're going to set up a decoy trip with fake check-ins and staged photos. I'll be somewhere else, safe, with backup. If Ellie makes a move thinking I'm gone, it's over. Final thoughts. For those worried about my safety, don't be. I lock my door every night. I prep all my food myself. I have a friend checking in with me daily. These two aren't criminal masterminds. They're a bored housewife and a desperate man with no patience and too much ego. This has become a chess match, and they never even realized they were playing. So, where did we leave off? Right, the beer with Eduardo. Turns out, Eduardo can't handle his liquor at all. I told Ellie I was meeting some buddies from my gambling support group. She even encouraged me to go, probably hoping I'd wrap my car around a tree on the way home. But I had other plans. We met at a dive bar. Sticky. Floors, cheap beer, perfect place for secrets to slip. 3 beers in, Eduardo was already slurring, getting emotional. Started venting about his divorce, money problems, how complicated things have gotten lately. I just nodded, played dumb, and kept the drinks coming. By beer 5, I casually mentioned that Ellie's been seeming a little stressed lately, asked if he knew what was going on. That's when things got interesting. He started rambling about how plans change and people aren't always who they say they are. Then he dropped a bomb. Ellie had apparently been talking to her, ex again, keeping her options open. Eduardo was clearly pissed, felt like she was playing him. I acted shocked, kept asking questions. All the while, my phone was recording everything from my pocket. Then came the real test. I casually mentioned I'd been thinking of canceling my life insurance policy. Told him the premiums were getting high and with my gambling problem, I could use the extra cash. His face went from drunk relaxed to sober alert in 0.2 seconds. He immediately started rambling about how insurance is super important and that I should definitely keep it. Then he awkwardly changed the subject. Amateur hour. When I got home, Ellie was waiting up. "How are the guys?" she asked. I smiled. "Great. Oh, I ran into Eduardo at the bar. He seemed upset about some woman he's been seeing. Said she's playing games." The look on her face? Like she just realized that engine light wasn't just a sensor issue. The next morning, the real fun began. I accidentally left my laptop open with the email from the insurance company confirming the cancellation of my life policy. Left it on the kitchen table while I showered. When I came back, Ellie was making breakfast, hands shaking just slightly. "You okay?" I asked. She muttered something about a headache. "Sure, Jan." That same afternoon, I discovered suspicious charges on our last remaining joint account. Called the bank with her in the room, made a huge deal of it. "Someone must have stolen our info." Account, frozen. Transactions, under review. Cash withdrawals, flagged. Ellie nearly had a panic attack, but tried to hide it. "When will the account be unfrozen?" she asked, voice tight. I shrugged. "Could be days, maybe weeks. They're reviewing every transaction. You know, like those cash withdrawals she thought I hadn't noticed." Then came the call. The lab called about the mystery powder from Ellie's purse. Not poison, just crushed prescription sleeping pills, strong ones. Guess the plan was to knock me out before staging the accident. Ellie was in the room when the call came. I acted like it was a job interview follow-up, but made sure to repeat the words "test results" and "sample confirmation" loud enough for her to hear. Her face drained of color. Again. Meanwhile, remember that anonymous ethics complaint I sent to Eduardo's job? It worked. I got a panicked text from him. "Did Ellie say anything about my work? Is she mad at me?" I played dumb, of course. Later that night, Ellie was pacing, whispering on the phone. My hidden cameras caught her telling Eduardo to stay calm, that they needed to put everything on hold. Nuclear option, deploy. I left my laptop open again, this time with a draft email to a divorce lawyer pulled up. In the message, I outlined my suspicions about the affair, the canceled life insurance policy, the strange powder, and that I was collecting evidence, didn't hit send, just made sure it was visible. Then I left my phone's location sharing on and went to meet my real lawyer. I made sure it pinged from an actual law office. When I got home, Ellie was in full damage control mode, made my favorite dinner, put on that sci-fi movie I'd been talking about, even initiated sex for the first time in months, all while her phone kept lighting up with texts from Eduardo. She tried to ignore them, but her fingers were twitching like mad. The confrontation. Next day, I sat Ellie down. Told her I knew about the affair, not the murder plot, just the cheating. Said I'd seen texts, noticed the pattern, that I wanted a divorce. She didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she cracked, said yes, it had happened, but it was over. Claimed Eduardo had been pressuring her for money, said he was threatening to tell me if she didn't pay him, claimed she'd been trying to end it for weeks, cried, begged, played the victim card hard. Not a single word about the murder plot. I nodded, said I needed time to think, told her to stay with her sister for a few days. She agreed. The twist. The moment she left, I sent Eduardo a carefully edited video clip from the hidden cameras. Only the parts where Ellie talked about him, how he was unstable, threatening her, making demands. I made it look like she'd completely thrown him under the bus. His response, a barrage of texts, called her every name in the book, said she was the one who came up with the plan, claimed. She'd promised Eduardo they'd split everything 50-50 once it was done. Didn't exactly say murder, but close enough. I saved every message while they were busy imploding. Then I executed the financial endgame, filed for divorce, citing infidelity, and backed it with proof. My lawyer helped me secure temporary orders freezing most of our assets. Changed the locks on the house legally. My name is the only one on the deed now. Cut Ellie off from what little remained in our joint accounts. Eduardo's situation went downhill even faster. That ethics investigation turned up actual shady dealings. He got suspended pending review. His ex-wife caught wind of the rumors about him and Ellie and filed to modify their divorce settlement, claiming he hid assets. The whole house of cards was collapsing. Thing is, watching them self-destruct, it should have felt better than it did. Don't get me wrong, there's satisfaction in seeing justice play out. But there's also this hollow feeling. 8 years of marriage reduced to a toxic endgame. Some nights I still wake up wondering how I never saw the signs earlier. About a week after Ellie left, the voice messages started. At first, they were angry. "How could you do this to me?" "I had no proof. You'll get what you deserve. In court." Then the tone shifted. They got desperate and pleading. "She can't access any money. Her sister kicked her out. Eduardo's threatening her. Can she please come home to talk? I saved every message but didn't respond, each one more desperate than the last. The turning point. 3 days ago, I was clearing out some of Ellie's things when I found a notebook tucked behind the dresser. Inside, detailed notes about my schedule, habits, lists of accidents that could happen naturally, research on life insurance payouts and waiting periods, and most damning of all, a step-by-step plan for the fishing trip, including Eduardo's role to make sure I didn't come back. I texted Ellie and asked her to meet me at a coffee shop the next day. Public place, lots of witnesses. When she arrived, she looked terrible, sleep-deprived, stressed. She started right in with the victim. Routine. I let her talk for 5 minutes straight. When she finally paused, I silently slid the notebook across the table. Her face, it was like watching a transmission fail in real time. Complete system shut down. She stammered something about it being fiction, part of a writing class she was taking. I just stared at her. Finally, I told her I knew everything, from the power outage to the wine glasses, the entire murder plot. Then I laid out her options. Option 1. I take everything, the recordings, the notebook, the powder test results, Eduardo's texts admitting the plot, and go to the police. Option 2. She signs the divorce papers I brought. Terms are non-negotiable. She gets nothing except her personal belongings and her car. No alimony, no house equity, no shared assets. And she leaves town permanently. She sat there for what felt like forever, just staring at the notebook. Finally, in a small voice, she asked if I'd really known all along. I nodded. She started laughing, bitter, broken laughter, like she was one step from crying. Said she, "Thought I was too stupid to notice anything. That's why they picked me. Easy target, decent insurance payout." Thing is, hearing her say that out loud should have hurt, but it didn't. I felt nothing. Like watching a stranger talk about someone else entirely. She wasn't the woman I married, maybe never had been. She signed the papers right there. Didn't. Even read them. Asked if I'd really go to the police if she didn't comply. The look I gave her was answer enough. As she was leaving, she turned back and asked how long I'd known. I told her since the power outage. She just shook her head, mumbled something about how different things could have been, and walked out. Eduardo didn't get off easy either. I sent him screenshots of the notebook pages with a simple message: leave town, or I take this to the police. He didn't respond, just listed his house for sale the next day. So here we are, divorce papers filed. House is quiet. Their lives are in ruins. Me? Well, not great, but intact. Moving forward. For those wondering about the powder, yeah, I got the full test results. Enough sedatives to knock out a horse. Would have made staging that fishing accident easy. Where things stand now, Ellie's staying with a friend 2 towns over, no job, no money, reputation destroyed, after I accidentally let mutual friends know about the affair. The murder plot stays between us for now. Eduardo's house is for sale. His career's in ruins. His ex-wife's reopening their divorce case. Karma's a thing. I'm seeing a therapist now. Turns out discovering your wife of 6 years wanted you dead leaves some emotional scars. Who knew? That dating app I downloaded last week? Already had coffee with someone. Nothing serious. Just nice to remember normal people exist. Thing is, I'm not the same person I was before all this. More cautious, less trusting, but also stronger in ways I never expected. Like an engine rebuilt after catastrophic failure. Different parts, same function. Maybe even running better than before. Some of you have asked if I regret not going to the police. Honestly, sometimes. But prosecution would have been messy, public, and with no guarantee they'd serve real time. This way, they lost everything that mattered to them. Money, reputation, security, while I get to rebuild quietly. Life's a weird one. That power outage changed everything. If I'd come home at the normal time that day, I might be dead by now. floating face down in a lake while Ellie cashed in my life insurance. Instead, I'm sitting in my house drinking my beer and sharing this final update with internet strangers, who've been weirdly supportive through this whole cluster. Sometimes the best revenge isn't an elaborate scheme. It's just making people face the consequences of their own actions while you walk away intact. So that's it. Story over. No more updates after this one. Time to close this chapter and start something new.